Good evening, friends, and welcome to tonight's edition of Insight. I'm your host, Pat Gagliardo, and as always, I'll be taking your calls a little later on in the program. I will answer your questions on pressing issues in your life. But first, Tai Chi, moving meditation. What it is all about, the benefits that it may bring into your life. My guests this evening are husband and wife and are from Hadlime, Connecticut. Please welcome David and Ann Chandler. Welcome, David and Ann. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you, Pat, for having us.
Now, you know I'm going to ask you right off the bat, for not only myself, but for viewers who don't have any idea about meditation at all, I'd like to ask you, before we get into Tai Chi, tell our viewers what you think about meditation and its benefits as a whole.
Well, meditation is tremendously beneficial for really anyone. And some people have some difficulty sitting and doing a sitting meditation. So Tai Chi, for instance, is a moving meditation. So it allows for you to get physical exercise, a connection spiritually as well as emotionally, psychologically, and to calm the body-mind while you're in movement. You have to concentrate deeply, so as you're on all of the movements. Some of them very simple, some of them very intricate, so you have to really focus. And the meditation process is one of an unfolding of creativity, a releasing, a letting go.
Mm-hmm. Now, we know by its name, of course, that Tai Chi is from the Orient, but who, where, why how did it originate?
Well, it originated around 900 to 1200 AD as Tai Chi, or Tai Chi Chuan. Tai Chi Chuan translates as Supreme Ultimate Fist, and it was founded by a man named Cheng San Feng, according to legend, who is said to have lived for over 300 years. In fact, emperor after emperor kept sending messengers out to have him brought to the capital so that the emperor could learn how to have longevity. So that was the origins was in China at the Wudang Mountain. And Cheng San Feng was said to have a great ape that traveled with him, and they'd go out and he'd cut down wood for his fire with his bare hands. So he was a very powerful person, but his whole process was about connecting with nature and unfolding freely, following water.
Can I say then, too, because, you know, of course I meditate, different type of meditation. I don't do Tai Chi per se, but I do know the benefits of meditating, of getting mind, body in harmony to utilize optimum potential. What is the difference between Tai Chi then and yoga?
Well, some of the differences in Tai Chi and yoga have to do with where they originated. One, yoga originated in a warm climate, a hot climate. So you wanted to lay down, you wanted to stretch, you wanted to hold still. Tai Chi was developed in a temperate climate, so you wanted to not be on the ground because you'd be too cold most of the time. So you want to be up moving. So you want to be able to get your stretching through your movement rather than through stillness. But you want to carry the stillness through in your movement. So they both have to do, yoga meaning union, Tai Chi meaning supreme ultimate, connecting with the higher, with the source, in essence. So in Tai Chi, what you want to do is find yourself in movement and in stillness. And in yoga, you want to find the movement inside of your stillness. And so there's a great many similarities. Tai Chi, of course, is also a martial arts system as well. So it has self-defense mechanisms, and there are some differences there.
But you incorporate the power within, then, through balance, through harmony, and of course through thrust, and the movement, of course, being very graceful. I find that Tai Chi is a very, very graceful art. I enjoyed the clip watching it just then as you were speaking, David. What does science have to say, the research ends of things, on the health benefits for those who, say, practice any type of meditation, but in particular, because we are speaking tonight of Tai Chi, on Tai Chi?
Well, there are a number of things. I think it was either a Harvard or a Yale study that was done a few years ago, and one of the things that they found out in a test study was that the samurai of the immune system, the T-cell count, goes up by about 13% every time you play Tai Chi. So for people who have immune system deficiencies, for instance, that means that they can stabilize that. For people who have just basic kind of health situation, that means you'll stay in health longer and maintain a radiant health. That's one of the basic things scientifically. It's been proven to be a cure for tuberculosis.
A cure?
Yes. It has effects on arthritis, which means that you'll be able to stabilize your system. We have numbers of folks who, in our classes who deal with things like multiple sclerosis, and the people who are dealing with that find that they're able to maintain their balance and continue and have their strength stay with them instead of faltering during the day, for instance, in their activities. Even some folks who are out skiing with that kind of a condition and being able to ski all the time.
Excuse me for interrupting and interjecting here, but a thought just came into my mind. And could it be then because the blood flow enriches and enhances? I definitely believe in that. I believe in good circulatory throughout the entire torso, of course, and that being healthy for, it's got to be for bones and structure and what have you. I don't know if you happened to catch the, there was a show on the other morning with Annette Funicello, who has MS, and they said by jumping out of an airplane, parachuting, that they're finding that the debilitating disease is almost now not only at a standstill, but actually regressing. So there's got to be something to the, you know, that the instant thrush or the rush, so to speak, of maybe the endorphins and things. And I would think because there's such a balance, you think that perhaps that has something to do with it?
It could have a number of things that could affect the
cardiovascular,
impact, cardiovascular, and so forth. When you were talking about bones earlier, playing Tai Chi, for instance, it actually increases bone strength. So for people in their aging, as they're the elderly, for instance, as they play Tai Chi, they actually increase their bone strength. The calcium, instead of leaching out of the bones as you play Tai Chi, it actually increases your bone strength. You take more calcium, it's stored in the bones, so your bones get heavier, denser, instead of becoming brittle and breakable as you age. How
about persons then with calcium problems and the osteoporosis? I believe that's the correct term.
We have a number of folks in that kind of a situation in our classes, and they're finding that they're strengthening, they're able to maintain the structure that they have instead of it continuing to debilitate them. They're able to maintain their structure.
I have a sister-in-law that just found that out. Go ahead.
A lot of our students have the Epstein-Barr virus and have had amazing results with Tai Chi.
Okay, which leads me to the next question, of course, I'm going to ask you. I want to know what got you involved in it. I know you've been in it for almost 20 years, correct? Since 1974. What brought you to it?
Well, I actually had a back injury. I was playing football in a small college out west, and what happened was I ruptured a disc, and the doctors wanted to have surgery and fuse a couple of the vertebrae, and it made me very nervous. And so I started to ask, what could I do to change that? And I saw a demonstration of Tai Chi, and I realized some of the movements that I was doing already to alleviate the pain and free up my body were very similar. So I started studying Tai Chi, and I got my body back. And I've had a couple of car accidents since that time that I've used the Tai Chi as a healing mechanism. And so that's one of the things that initially got me into it. And still today I work with folks at a place called Regional Physical Therapy, for instance, where I see clients and who are everywhere from severe brain trauma to situations of healing cancers and so forth. So we're, people after the surgery and so forth. So it's a healing mechanism as well.
And how about for you, Ann?
Well, I was an aerobics instructor, and I met David. We were at a place called Omega Institute, and he was the resident Tai Chi instructor. I was the resident aerobics instructor. And once I did Tai Chi, I just, it made me feel so good and so peaceful and so healthy and so toned that I stopped doing aerobics, and now all I do is Tai Chi.
So you do it together. I think that is wonderful. Can you maybe share with myself and our viewers what has been the most rewarding or the most gratifying experience? Not just with yourselves, but maybe with persons you've seen an actual, a total change before your eyes, like a metamorphosis of someone who's ailing and someone who's made. There's probably more than one, I'm sure, but one that might be, one that would stand out.
There's one experience that comes to mind. In fact, I get shivers thinking about it. On one of our weekend retreats, which we do throughout the year, one man who had been out of work for over a year, had lost his son, and was in tremendous emotional pain, and really was saying basically he didn't really have much to live for, came to a weekend retreat, started taking private Tai Chi and started taking some other classes, and then came to one of the weekend retreats, and we were doing some very intensive processes of Tai Chi that week and that weekend. And during that process, He had a total transformation. He had a reason for living. He suddenly realized he's alive. He's alive, and the body is able to do, and he can create, and he could carry on the life force that was missing from his son. And he made that realization during that time frame, and that it affected all of us.
That's fabulous. That makes it all worthwhile. Now, I know that you have classes, and I know that you're in several, I think 7 maybe different locations. Maybe
Yes.
you want to expound on that a little bit for our viewers, or all of you who may be interested in not only hearing about Tai Chi, of course, but actually going and seeing and participating in. Why don't you tell us about Eagle's Quest?
Well, we run our classes in a 10-week cycle, and each class is 2 hours long. And so we teach enough in the 2 hours that people have the whole week to go home and work with what they learn. And one of the things that came to mind when you were talking about what really strikes us about what we do is there are a lot of people, you know, we talked about people who have traumas and diseases, but there are so many people who come and they're very healthy and they're just having a great time in their life as it is. But what happens is that they become more of who they are. And that happens with almost everyone. They just kind of peel off the layers and they become more of who they are.
That's phenomenal itself. As I said earlier, I too meditate, so I know the benefits of getting, and let's face it, we live in a very stressed world. We live in a very depressed society, in my opinion, and I feel that the benefits to meditate. Now, I have members of my family, so I hope you're out there listening, you're paying attention to this, to find it difficult to go sit off in a corner and be able just to shut the mind off. Well, of course, I've been in practice for 15 years, so it's a lot easier for me, but that's something I would really like the viewers to understand, that this type of meditation is so very beneficial in getting the mind, body, spirit in harmony to make that unity, and that's so very important. You might want to start then about some simple exercises. Is there something you could share with our viewers in a simple type of exercise to explain to them?
Sure. Actually, there's a wonderful one that we're seeing all across the country being done in football stadiums, basketball stadiums. They don't really know they're doing Tai Chi, I don't think, but when they do the wave, and they come up and everyone goes, ah, and it goes around, that's a Tai Chi movement. So that just standing with your feet separated and just relax your shoulders, lengthen your spine, bring your weight gently forward and let your arms float up to about the height of your shoulders, and then just let them go down, just like a wave. And then bring it forward again, let it rise. So you're just making the movements of a wave. And just concentrate on your center, and that will bring it in. Let's start us off.
And inhaling, a lot of it has to do with the breath, and the breath being in harmony with the body. So inhaling as you come up and exhaling as you come down, it serves to really center the mind and body.
Fabulous. We have to take a break right now, viewers, but we'll be back in a moment, and we'll take your questions for my guest on Tai Chi, so call in now. Remember, when you're calling in Connecticut, please dial all the digits. You must dial 1-800-443-TB26. You must dial the 1-800 to get through. Out of state, the number to call is 203-444-2626. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And for those of you who may have just tuned in, you are watching Insight. I am your host, Pat Gagliardo. We are talking this evening about Tai Chi, moving meditation. The number to call in Connecticut again, please dial all the digits, 1-800-443-TV26. Out of state, the telephone number, 203-444-2626. And without further ado, we'll go right to the phones. Go ahead, Laurie from Preston, you're on.
Hi, Pat. I have a question for your guest there.
They're listening.
I've only heard of Tai Chi in association with martial arts. I'm wondering, is it only incorporated in a sense of a relaxation type meditation? Is that what Tai Chi basically is a meditation?
Well, to answer you, Laurie, Tai Chi covers a variety of systems. One, it is an exercise system. It also is a martial arts system. It also is, besides being a health system, it's a meditation system. So you've got exercise. You're working your whole being. It's a holistic program. So you're doing emotional self-defense as well as physical self-defense, but you're also, in a sense, going beyond that. You're working to create. You're developing yourself to go into much more dynamic living situation. Because most of the time, people are not going to be in a situation where they're going to fight someone. So that's that you're protected in that way. You're developing yourself for that. But also beyond that, you're allowing yourself to bring out your greater creativity.
I was just wondering, 'cause, like, I'm in Tung Sudo, I'm practicing Tung Sudo right now, and it seems that's a defensive type of art. Tai Chi, from what you're saying, I want to understand this correctly. Tai Chi doesn't seem to be an aggressive type of, to teach you self-defense or something. Do you understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yes. In a sense, as we practice, I know that in some of the hard styles, what happens is as you're practicing your martial arts system, you're getting broken ribs, broken noses, broken fingers, jams, you know, that kind of thing. In Tai Chi, we really have very few injuries along the way. Our approach is a soft approach. It doesn't mean that you don't have the power to do that. It means that along the way, if you're practicing for self-defense, why get hurt along the way? Along the way, too, what you're learning is how to bring your spirit into your body-mind awareness.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for calling, Lori. Have a pleasant evening. Go ahead, Susan from Hartford. You're on the line.
Good evening. I've recently gotten into yoga, and I find it very, very helpful for stress reduction and as a good exercise, muscle toner, and that sort of thing. And I believe Tai Chi would be a good complement to this.
Absolutely.
What I'm wondering about, you folks sound wonderful, but in lieu of studying with you, if there's any place you would recommend in the Hartford area.
Well, we're actually in the Hartford area. We're all around the state. We have classes in Glastonbury on Mondays and Wednesdays, for instance. We have class in Newington on Sunday, Middletown Tuesday nights. We're in North Stonington and Branford area on Thursday nights. Chaplin area on Friday evening. So we really try to get out to the areas because there haven't been that many Tai Chi teachers around, and that's why we've been doing what we've been doing, is to get out to a number of communities.
This sounds like a marketing question, right? How like a plant. How can one get further information about enrolling and that sort of thing?
Well, great. I think you can just write right here, and a brochure will get sent out to you.
You can write to Insight, Susan, okay?
Okay. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. You too.
Go ahead, Karen from Hartford.
Hello. Yes, I'm calling about some information. I'm a cancer survivor, and what I'm doing now is I'm on chemotherapy, but my energy level is like 0.
Right.
And this, I find, I saw a program on Tai Chi. It's called Tai Chi. Is that how you pronounce it?
There are actually several pronunciations: Tai Chi, Tai Chi Chuan, or with the J sound, Tai Chi.
But I saw some people doing it who were cancer survivors, and it seemed to be relaxing. I meditate and stuff like that. But I think this is an avenue that I could try because my energy level is so low. I used to exercise a lot, but now, I mean, I've gained an enormous amount of weight from the chemotherapy drugs and stuff. So maybe you can give me some insights on
Sure,
it.
absolutely. In fact, one of the things that we find with folks who have had some sort of debilitating disease, something that has taken them out of harmony. Dis-ease is out of harmony. So as you conquer that, the next thing is to get you up to a living, an aliveness, and that's what Tai Chi does, is as you incorporate that body-mind awareness, it's not being strong so much as using and utilizing the strength that you do have to its greatest efficacy. And that's what we're working with in Tai Chi, is learning how to bring everything you have to a single point of awareness so that you can develop any energy that you have into a higher, more blossoming kind of energy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karen. Good night. You know, this is such a fascinating field for me because, as I said again, meditation and its benefits. For you viewers, I'd like to add a little something here, listening to David speak. I'm sure that you've heard that if you're in physical distress, you have to have a very positive mental attitude. Having a positive mental attitude in meditation is the best that there is. I want to thank my guests so very much for coming tonight. Thank you both so very much. I hope we'll have the opportunity to see each other again. Thank you.
Pat.
Good night. Now, we're going to have to take a break, and I'll be back thereafter to take your calls. Again, in Connecticut, it's 1-800-443-TV26. Out of state, 203-444-2626. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. And we're going to go right to the lines. Go ahead, caller from Willimantic. How can I help you?
Good evening. This is Nagu from Willimantic. You have met me. I'm the woman from India. And I want to thank you. What a good soul sister you are. And I have two quick personal questions, if I may. One is, do you see any improvement in relieving the distress I'm feeling quite a number of years in my personal and professional life? And how is the relationship between my adult son and daughter is going to go this time?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, unfortunately, boy, the distress is very, very heavy. This is not something that's going to go away overnight. Unfortunately, the impressions coming to me, this is something you have to work at continuously. You're taking on way too much of problems that are exterior and external, that are out of your control. You really need to start focusing more on what you can do, things in your own life that can bring you pleasure. I feel so much stress from you that I'm very concerned about ultimately having physical breakdowns from it. So please take to heart what I'm telling you, caller. This is really a concern to me, and I don't feel you have very many vents, so you need to incorporate some in your life. Doing things that you know are healthy, things that are uplifting, and it's perfect for the program that we've had tonight to get yourself in harmony and in balance. As for your, I believe you said son and daughter. I couldn't quite hear you. I'm going to need to have a little bit more volume on the phone here, but that situation I feel is back and forth, back and forth. This isn't something that I feel is just, it's just there. It's something on and off. But I do find within the next 2 years some definite change is coming. Daughter energy comes to me that shows me some definite changes within her own life and some decision making. She needs to look at you and find a strength, an example. So you need to work through this distress, please, caller. I'm very, very concerned about it.
Is the job situation going to improve soon?
I'm sure of it. That's why I said I feel that there will be some changes. You have to help it along some.
I had a good interview last week in the Pacific Northwest. How does it sound to you?
So far, I'm okay. But you have to help it along. Okay, caller?
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless and good night. Go ahead, caller from Norwich.
Hi, Pat. How are you?
Good evening.
My finances, are they going to be improving soon?
Well, you asked me that question, my mind says waiting. So I can only assume by that you know that something's coming out of the ordinary, or something something that doesn't come, we'll say, from a paycheck. Maybe something you're waiting for, maybe through a settlement. I don't know. But I am getting some other monies. So I will tell you that. Probably before the end of the year or within the first quarter of the new year. You have to learn how to put better budget on yourself, and you know that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. God bless. Good night. Go ahead, caller from New London.
Hi, Pat. I have 3 questions to ask you tonight.
Well, can we kind of keep it down to 2 so we can be fair to all the people on the lines? Okay.
That'll
2 pressing issues.
That'll
Go
be
ahead.
Fine. Number 1, I'm 14 years old and I'm 5'1" and I weigh a lot, like over 145 pounds. What should I do?
Well, first of all, I can sympathize with that, weight battling and so forth, but you definitely need a program. You're going to have to learn how to have food in your life as something to help keep the body nutritionally sound, but not to use it as an outlet for if you're up, if you're down, if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're depressed, if you're confused, if you're excited. That's what you do a lot of, and you've got to break away from that. So I would certainly encourage a good weight program. And myself, I am a Weight Watcher. I believe in the Weight Watcher program because it's nutritionally sound. They're always up on the latest insight themselves about food and nutrition. So get going. You're only 14. You don't want to have this problem when you're 40.
Number 2.
Go ahead.
My sister is dating, my sister is 16 years old, and she's dating a 16-year-old boy. And he hasn't been coming over to her house lately for the past 2 days. And I was just wondering, what has
well,
been happening.
let me say this. At 16, she shouldn't be, in my opinion, in a committed relationship anyway. I think at 16, she needs to spread her wings. There should be definitely some, you know, going out with friends. At 16, she shouldn't be in a committed relationship. So if he's not coming over, maybe she should take that as a good sign. Tell her to get out and see the world a little bit. You shouldn't get so bogged down with that kind of a commitment at 16.
No,
Thank you for
I was
calling.
just wondering if he was like cheating on her or something.
Well, I don't even want to call it cheating at 16. They should be dating, period. Thank
right.
you, caller.
Yep, bye-bye.
Good night. Go ahead, caller from Vernon.
Hello, how are you?
Good, go ahead.
My question is, I just wonder if there's any situations or people in which I should be using extreme caution or keeping my eyes open?
Well, you have one very specific person in mind by asking me that question. And I know that already, and I felt too probably a family member. Let me say this, and I believe this with every ounce of my being. People cannot cause us to feel anything. We have to be in control of our own lives, our own actions, our reactions, and responsible for them. In your particular case, stop letting all this exterior stuff, this external stuff, get inside you. If you are secure with who you are and why you do the things you do and what motivates you, that needs to be your whole preface, your whole reason for getting up every day. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you are uncertain and you feel that you can't trust, and I know that that's what's going on in your head, then don't say anything. You know, the fire can't grow if we don't fuel it. Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Go ahead, caller from Groton.
Hi, Pat. My question to you is, I haven't seen my daughter in 22 years, and I just recently found out the area that she's in. By me coming back into her life, am I going to cause her...
Okay, you stop right there, caller. There's been, oh boy, I'll try to be gentle with you about this, but I'm sure you've watched the program enough to know now that as I speak, I can get a whole picture. It's not just, you know, cut and dry with me. The ability I have enables me to see past, present, future in the now, meaning right then and there. Your life for probably the last 20 years is not what I would call happy. I feel a lot of discontent. I feel a lot of not really knowing yourself, taking out your niche and really working with it. I feel a lot of still searching. I'm not going to tell you there won't be some closed doors. I believe there's been a lot of muddy water, if I may, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of assumptions passed around, what is he like, and then a lot of other people. You know, people sometimes thrive on negativity. Unfortunate as it is, it's life. You may get some closed doors. I don't care if you get 35 shut doors. You need to get in touch with her. You need to be able to put your cards on the table, so to speak, not by demeaning or berating anybody else, just by letting her feel the real you. And you know what I'm talking about. And I think you need to do that soon.
Okay. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Do you see any kind of a relationship?
Well, you've had a couple, I felt. Again, as I said, there's that search within you. There's that need to really get in touch, find out who you are, what you're all about, and then ask yourself, are you really ready to commit? You haven't committed to yourself yet. You don't know what you are yet. So I will say yes, but in the way of companionship relationship, not in the way of committing mind, body, and soul. No, not in the immediate future.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me. We do have to hear a word from our sponsors now, but don't change that dial. You stay right here with us, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Callers, I ask you to be patient. I will get with you, but I do want to answer some of the mail. I am going to read the 5 letters tonight, so callers, be patient, and I'll be with you in just a few moments. The first letter that comes to me is from Susan M. from Hume, Missouri. And I must tell you, I was really surprised to get this letter. You asked me about extra money and you asked me about disability. I know that you have friends and family that watch Insight, so I feel that they will see to it that you will receive this information on your letter. As I looked at your photo, limbs kept coming into my mind, your hands, or something about your hands and lower parts. Surgical procedure came to my mind, perhaps in your arms or in your wrist. Also, something in your back came to my mind, too. I feel that partial disability and some monies will be compensated for you. However, it will take more time. I felt a desperate situation, and I wish that I could, I wish that that it would end for you soon, but unfortunately, you're going to have to continue with your faith and ask from up above to help you get through this difficult time. There will be changes later fall, winter, and there will be better changes in 1994. The second letter that comes to me is from Helene D. from Danielson. You asked me about a 5-month relationship, and you asked me about your finances improving and in more children. Helene, you are a very attractive woman, yet very insecure. In looking at your photo, I found that you've had many struggles, at least in the last 8 to 10 years of your adulthood. You must react as strongly emotionally as you do with other situations that you have conquered. Talking about people, I'm talking about jobs in your life. You're a fighter, so don't let your emotions get the better of you either. Continue on the fight, that's what I'm telling you. With a have-to attitude, because that's usually how you are. No commitment for you in 1993-94 shows me a little change in relationship. One child, but not necessarily biological. Could be the person that enters into your life also has a child. Money will be tight for at least 2 more years for you. The third letter that comes to me is from Rachel E. from Bolton, Connecticut. You asked me about my views on reincarnation. You asked me about a trailer in Vermont and to pay off the balance on your house. Well, because of my own experiences and changes in my own life, I'm not closed-minded to anything, even reincarnation. I'm also very analytical by nature, so I'm open to many things, including reincarnation, as I said. I'd like to get into that with you, but we don't have time in one program to do that. But thank you for that question. I also believe in karma, cause and effect. I hope to present that topic on Insight sometime later on as the program progresses. About your trailer in Vermont, I felt that it is a place for you for much-needed R&R. That's like your home, away from home, with no distractions and peace of mind. You didn't ask me this, but my impressions told me that you needed some help with the upkeep, and that was probably one of the reasons, or maybe the main reason, you wanted to sell it. Before you do that, get some help, maybe some family to help you with some cosmetic change and maybe some of the lawn work. I don't know if you should sell the trailer. You don't have to. I didn't feel that you had to sell it. And you're concerned about leaving it empty. That was another thing that I picked up on, like vandalism and things like that. Therefore, I felt that you would probably sell it because of those concerns in a couple of years. But I don't think you need to be in any big hurry to do that. As far as paying off your home, I really didn't see any major benefits now in doing that, as far as the monies, putting them in CDs, etc. Your property is in a peaceful location, I felt also, and it too needs some cosmetic change. And I kept getting something about a farmhouse nearby, so you're going to have to write and let me know about that one. Thank you for your wonderful comments, too. Next letter that comes to me is from M.A. in Norwich. You asked me about career. You asked me about finances and your family moving back to Connecticut and relationship. Your photo brought me much sadness and emotional turmoil. It was very difficult for me to continue to look at your picture, your face, because I felt so much of your pain and your anguish. So I had to put your photo down several times and then go back and pick it up again. Unfortunately, I could not feel work for you in the immediate future. You didn't tell me what you do or did, but my impressions told me that perhaps you had worked with people in the way of sales, perhaps in real estate. And I felt that if you did that in the past year or two, I could understand why you were so depressed or felt so debilitated through your energy and being like, what's the use kind of attitude. But there's always a reason. Sales, I felt, is something that you need to pursue. Perhaps you have done it, as I said. You need to work with people. You need to work with people who are dependent on others, perhaps like the ill who may be handicapped, persons that need to rely on someone else. I felt you would get a great deal of satisfaction from that. You will find employment, but you have to be patient and trust again. You're very strong in faith, I felt, too. I did not feel a man right away, but I did feel a visit from your daughter, and companionship, I felt probably late 93, 94. Companionship, friendship, not in the way of commitment or like marriage. So I will tell you that. And the last letter that I'm reading tonight comes from Heidi D. out of Orient, New York. You asked me about your personal life and your career. Heidi, you gave me a photo with you and your daughter. Immediately I sensed telephones. I thought, maybe they work for the phone company. Either that or the type of work that you do, you're definitely on the telephone. You might like almost have one hanging off your ear. Perhaps there is a job regarding telephone work too. You are lonesome, I felt, but I didn't feel always lonely. By that I meant that you get out and you do things. You put diversions in your life, and I know that you and your daughter are more like sisters, and that's wonderful. There is a man in your life, I felt. I don't know if it's a husband. I felt you're estranged from him emotionally. If he is there, you didn't tell me that in your letter, but I did feel that there was someone, because you didn't ask me. You just said relationship, but my mind said that there is someone there, but it's a void. But you fill the void with things and people, and you need to work through this situation. Stop pretending it doesn't exist, because as you're doing that, you really are pulling more and more of negativity into your life. Stop going around Robin Hood's barn. Get inside the door, sit down and say, we've got a problem. This is how I'm feeling about it. Ignoring it is not going to make it go away. Your daughter is very smart. She's very sensitive. She's a giver, and so are you. It is okay to receive, too, and not feel so guilty. No matter what you do with these diversions, I feel like you take on a lot of guilt. You don't have to feel guilty if you feel secure. I want to thank all of you for your wonderful letters. I want you to keep writing them to me. We have to take another break right now, and when we come back, I will tell you how you can write to me and some other instructions. So don't change that dial. Callers, be patient. I'll be right back. Oh, go ahead. Okay, go ahead, caller.
Good evening, Pat. I enjoyed your program. I would like to find out if you can tell me about finances and romance in my future.
Well, finances are difficult for you, but not extremely. For some reason, I felt that you're doing all right. I think you'd like to see them better, but you're certainly not on poverty row here, and I'm feeling that finances are okay. It's your personal life that's giving me such a stress. I feel like you're closed in. You've got to be out. You've got to get more active.
I lost my husband, and I don't feel like going out.
I'm very uncomfortable with the vibration that I pick up from you, caller. It's important that you speak to someone, that you, if you don't and I don't feel family near you. I'm feeling isolation. I'm feeling closed off, and this concerns me immensely. I would appreciate it if you would call me at my office. I would like to speak to you. Let me give you my office number to call me. That's 886-9429.
Can you repeat it again?
The telephone number is 886-9429. Please write it down, and please let me hear from you.
Thank you. So anytime, what time would be convenient?
You can call and leave me a number where I can reach you, because there's always a recorder. Okay?
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, caller from Wethersfield.
Hi, Pat. I have a question. I'm planning on having an off-campus apartment for next semester, and I know I'm going to have to get a part-time job because the school won't cover it all. But I really would want to move in before school starts, and I was wondering if you saw that for me.
Yes, and there's two other people that keep coming to me, too. I don't know if it'll be two roommates, but I'm getting definitely one, and maybe one that would come, like, and stay once in a while. Could be a sister of a roommate, and that's why I felt in and out. But I think it's good for you. You definitely need that kind of responsibility. And you're not worried about the work. I feel you're ready to tackle anything. But the responsibility, I think, will be very, very good for you. A little house comes to me, not an apartment. I'm getting like a smaller place, or it's like a duplex, because I get 2 doors. But I'm getting like together. I don't know if you've looked at this yet, but perhaps you will. Don't be concerned about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, because I have the listing that the school gave me, and
Good.
they have some of those.
Good.
The other question is, I don't get to see my boyfriend too much because he lives on campus and I live off, and I was hoping for next semester.
For that to improve?
Yeah.
It'll be better. I don't know if you'd be together every day, but I did sense improvement. So I will tell you yes to that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Okay, go ahead, caller from Gales Ferry.
Hi. I was going to ask about my husband. At this present time, he has an extremely good job. In fact, most of your callers would love to have the money he gets from this job. The thing of it is, he is overly stressed. I am very, very worried about his health. He is considering looking in other directions. I was wondering if you saw anything there.
Well, let me stop you. I don't mean to be rude, but sometimes, you know, my energy, unfortunately, has to take priority. It takes precedent over what you're saying anyway. It blocks you out. I'm gonna tell you something. I know he's your husband. You probably say, well, Pat, I should know him better than you. But let me tell you something. Yes, he's under a lot of stress, but you know, he works very, very well under pressure. It's almost like he has this thing about challenge. He has this thing about beating the clock, meaning he really needs to be in a high-stress position. What he needs is diversions, outlets. You know, it's not stress that gives us poor health. It's a cumulative stress. It's when we don't have outs or vents. Your husband likes what he's doing. I feel there's some politicking and maybe some bureaucracy that he's not thrilled about. But I don't think a move right now is what is called for here. Let's see what comes down late fall or September. And is there any reason that I would be upstairs looking out where a highway maybe crosses over and there might be some water nearby? If you don't know where I am, you ask him, and it might be prospects then for change.
All right.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good night. Go ahead, caller from New London.
Good evening. I believe in spiritual guides and guardian angels, and I was wondering if you can help me figure out how to communicate better with them and how to receive and understand my guides' directions better.
Okay, this is directly my own opinion. This is from my own experience. I do, too, believe that from the onset, right from birth, that the God consciousness, if you will, probably allots, if we can say that, or designates spiritual guidance. I don't see it to be only in a form now. To me, God consciousness to be everywhere means it's like an odic energy that is everywhere, and that there's this guidance or this wisdom that branches from that, which to me is energy from the God force. I also believe in the negative. So we have to, and I also believe that it's a certain time in our lives when they will present themselves in the knowledge and in the wisdom. What you want to be careful of is don't push it. If you're aware of it, number one, what you want to do is ascertain, make certain that you know that the source is comforting. Remember, God consciousness does not bring confusion. God consciousness does not bring doubts or a lot of negativity. It can only bring peace and joy. If you're not finding it because you're impatient about it, what you want to do is just try to sit back, learn some definitely meditative techniques to help you. Because I also believe God consciousness is within. And once we tap into the potential, we can get our optimum potential to work in our best benefit.
You're correct. That was very insightful.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And call me, too, and we can go into that in greater depth.
Thank you. It's nice to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching Insight.